Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our Monday morning trainings. We got a great training for you today. Kind of a follow up on last week. We had Coach Lindsey Byram on, and he talked a little bit about annuities. And this morning, Brent Lundgren, he's going to continue that conversation and show us a little bit more in detail. So with that said, I'm going to just turn it over to Brent. And go ahead, Brent, take it away.
All right, thanks, Mike. Well, we feel sorry for Al today. He's in Cabo, Mexico. We just hope he comes back alive. He doesn't get hijacked or blown up in a boat or something like that. But anyway, we're here and we're going to go over some stuff. The past few weeks, we've talked about Freedom Equity Group and what is it we do? And one, we've talked about living benefits. And I still think living benefits is the best thing for the average person. It's good for everybody. It's an easy product to talk to. You don't need a ton of knowledge. It's just a matter of, what do you know about living benefits? Not much. Well, I'd love to share an idea with you sometime. Tell you a little bit more about them. The chances are very good they don't have living benefits. So obviously we have the possibility of getting in and presenting what living benefits are. Attached to the living benefits is how do we do them? Do we do them with term, GUL, or IUL? And we had Leo do a session on the GUL, the guaranteed income for life, and how that product can fit in. And then obviously we've talked about the good, better, best. We think the IUL, the index UL, the 7702 plan, is the best way for living benefits because it lasts a lifetime. So with term, it's great in the beginning. It's low cost, but at some point those term rates go up. And then do we cancel the term or not pay the premium, which cancels the term? And then we also lose our living benefits. And then, so that's what we talked about. Living benefits, tax-free retirement income, okay, which is part of the IUL, and a tax-free retirement income competing with a 401k usually wins out every time. And then the third thing is guaranteed income for life. All right, now how do you want to posture this today? You might sit there and say, well, Brent, I'm in my 30s and 40s. I don't know anybody that's thinking about retiring, so that's really not my market. Why should I learn about the annuity program? Well, if you're in your 30s and 40s and you're talking to people in the 30s and 40s, I would assume they have parents. And so what I want you to do today is look at this from the perspective of your prospects, clients, or whatever, parents. Do they need guaranteed income for life? Do they need a program that they don't have to worry about? So that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to try to identify when annuities fit in. And so all of a sudden the light bulb comes on. You go, hey, I think I got a client for that. And then what to do about it. Where to go and find out so you don't have to take the time to learn everything about all this stuff. So having said that, when I talk to people in their 60s, because I'm in my 60s, this is me. The fear of dying has been replaced by the fear of living too long and running out of money. I'm 65. I can't do a lot of things I used to do. I don't have the desire to jump out of an airplane and all that kind of stuff. Okay, yeah, I want to see my grandkids grow up and all that kind of stuff. But from a standpoint of things that I personally really, really, really want to do, as you get older, things change. And so the fear of dying has been replaced by the fear of living too long and running out of money. That's where the annuity comes in, the fixed index annuity. This is John Bogle. I don't know if you know John Bogle, but he's the president or the owner of the Vanguard Group, which is one of the largest mutual fund companies out there. And he says, listen to this, prepare for at least 2 declines of 25 to 30%, maybe even 50% in the coming decade. He's talking about the stock market. Have we had some declines the last few days, the last couple of weeks? Absolutely. Have we been on a nice roll? Yes, we have been. And when we get on a nice roll, people forget about the downs. And so we're going to talk about the down markets, not a crash, but an adjustment. Markets change over time. He continues. I went through one in 73, 74. I went through one in 2001, 2, and 3. I went through another in 2008 or 9. They're kind of scary, often terrifying, but it's typical. So predicting a down market is not you're a doom and gloom person. All you think about is a negative. No, just reality. That's just the way things work. So help me finish the sentence. The greater the risk, the greater the... We think it's reward, right? Guess what it is? It's not really true. It's the possibility of loss. So the greater the risk, the greater the chance for loss. And I know I've talked to a couple guys that are thinking about maybe moving their 401k, and you know what they said? Should have done it 2 weeks ago. because it's less in there now than there was 2 weeks ago because there's a chance for loss. Okay, identifying common problems, discover uncommon solutions. Many people research markets, read publications, and speak to advisors in search of opportunities. In other words, where can I put my money that it's going to go up in value? And they spend time doing all this kind of stuff. But the uncommon thing is fewer people dedicate time clearly potential harm to their assets. In other words, identifying things that can harm my assets, not things that will make my assets grow. So identify harmful risks. Seek reasonable opportunities. We're going to talk about some reasonable opportunities. I'd like you to write that down and see if you think the fixed index annuities are reasonable opportunities for loss, for risk. Do we have volatility? They rise and fall on a daily basis. Assessing your money at the wrong moment can dramatically affect how long your retirement dollars may last. We're going to show you a couple slides on that. I should have done it yesterday. Volatility. Riding the financial roller coaster can make it difficult to hit a bullseye on your personal retirement goals. We'll talk about that. How do we reduce the impact of volatility? Well, in the past it's been, just diversify. Have your eggs in more baskets. Have small cap stocks, large cap stocks, European stocks. Have this, have that, have bonds, have this, have all these different things, okay? Is that really the answer? Well, it may not be. Not common diversification, because if the market goes down, most of the stocks go down. Bonds go down in value. Maybe we need to think of some uncommon diversifications. This is the compound growth rate from January 2000 to May 2015. Okay, are we at a high point? Absolutely. Have we had some volatility? Absolutely. But what was the total return? 2.68%. You've seen us do slides in the past with the CAGR, compound annual growth rate, and how in the last 10, 15, 20 years, we remember these real well, but we sure forget about these, don't we? The 4% rule. That's kind of the rule of saying if you had a 401k, you retire, put it in an IRA someplace, they're basically saying you should take out 4% of your income. If you take out 4%, that money should last you pretty much till you're 90 or 100, and you should get through it. Okay, so let's just say you wanted $3,000 a month. You should have about $900,000 to get $3,000 a month. Are people aware of that? If they wanted $4,000 a month, they need $1.2 million. Do they have that? So is the 4% rule still appropriate? Some say it's not. Some say it's less than that. Some say it's 2, maybe 3%. Why is that? Because that CAGR return was 2.68. Well, if you're only getting 2.68 and you're taking out 4, you will run out of money. 4% is just not safe. Why? Because of volatility. I got here using the market. I'm going to get out of here using the market. That's what a lot of people think. Okay, it's not that the stock market never goes up, because it does go up. Hasn't it gone up in the last few years? Absolutely. The problem is sometimes it goes down. Now, what if there were a 6% rule? Well, if you had a 6% rule and you wanted that same $3,000 a month, instead of needing $900, you'd only need $600. That's $300,000 less dollars. That's a big difference if there was a 6% rule versus a 4% rule. And you can see the difference. Now, take far less money to generate the same income. Commonly available guaranteed lifetime income rates. 60-year-old, 5, 65, 5.5, 70-year-old, 6, 75, 6.5. These are guaranteed lifetime income rates from various companies that you can get. So we don't have to apply the 4% rule. We can get that 5, maybe 6% rule to apply. Here's some examples. Okay, there's a different companies, 5%. Here it shows at 65, 5.5, 76. If they wait till 75, if they wait till 80, And this is when they start it now. So when they start taking income, this does not go up. So if they start taking income, they get 5. When they're 61, they don't get 5.1. It's locked in at 5. But it just shows you some examples from different companies. And we'll show you a little bit more of that, about that. Now, remember this? Remember that 2.68? Now, let's say you had 100,000. Now, we're going to talk about volatility. And you withdrew 500 a month at 6%. You would actually run out of money right there. So by June 2014, you have run out of money, no money left to participate when the market rebounds because you're out of money. Now, here's what's interesting. You didn't even get your money back. You put in 100, you got 2.68, and you took out 87 and you're out of money because we took out money at volatile times when it really had an impact on it. Isn't that crazy? Things that outperform that. Well, CD outperforms it. So does the money market. So does a savings account. So does a checking account. So does a safe. So does a mattress. And so does a coffee can. Outperform the market in that period of time. Systematic risk. The risk inherited to the entire market or an entire market segment. Systematic risk, also known as universal risk, volatility or market risk, affects the overall market, not just a particular stock or industry. This type of risk is both unpredictable and impossible to completely avoid. It cannot be mitigated through diversification. So diversification is not the answer. Okay? This risk is responsible for a significant portion of price changes you see in the stock market. So how does one avoid the systematic risk? Leave the system. Get out of the market. Don't listen to CNBC. Don't watch those shows because you're not going to gain anything. I've done all that. I've had the TV in my office and watched CNBC all day long. Some days go home happy and some days go home sad. Solution. A fixed index annuity gives you the potential to exceed traditional fixed interest rates by linking your credits to the performance of an external market index. If the market goes up, it grows, tax deferred. If the market goes down, you have your money protected and you stay level. Money grows, goes up. Your values will either increase or stay the same. Your principal and past interest credits are always protected. So if you had 100,000, sorry about that. If you had 100,000, you'll always have 100. If you got it to 500, you'll always have 500. You won't have volatility in the market. Okay, here's an example of that volatility right here. The red line is the S&P. You can see the up and downs of the market. The green line is the indexed annuity with locking things in. Now, here, all of a sudden you're saying, well, Brent, right here, I don't know, maybe I'd be better in the market. Well, do you think we're probably going to have a correction when we've had all these increases for so many years, the last 4 or 5 years? Probably set for correction. So what is your risk tolerance? And this you can ask people. You know, if I go to stocks, can I have possible growth? Absolutely, but can I have possible loss? If I go to mutual funds, maybe a little bit more diversified because there's more stocks in a fund, I can have growth, but I can have loss. If I take out a variable annuity, can I have growth? Yes, but can I have loss? Yes. If I go to bonds, are bonds always safe? No, you can lose money in a bond. I can go to cash, but then my growth isn't so high, but I don't lose any money. I go to CD, I get a little bit of growth, but not much, but I don't lose money. If I get a fixed annuity, right now, a fixed annuity is going to probably get you a 3-4% return. I can get some gain, but not much loss or no loss. But if I take an index annuity, I got my greatest chance for growth, but I also have no loss. So personally, if I'm going to say, do I go in stocks, mutual funds, variable annuities, I think the index annuity has Obviously, maybe not the most potential on the upside, but boy, it's nice having the no loss situation, especially if we have a volatile market. Now, the impact of the 2007-2009 correction. Could we be going into that again? Is that a possibility? Okay, so what would have happened if someone had been eligible to retire in early 2007 but decided to work till 2009? So in 2005, okay, they were the S&P, their account was both, their $300,000 in both. One retired on 2007, so their account grew from 300 to 388,000. The other person says, no, I'm not going to retire yet. I'm going to stay working. And their account went from 300 to 186. Now, using just the 4% rule, this person gets 15,000 a year. This person gets 7,000 a year. 14-month delay, 52% loss. Well, Brent, what can we do here? What about this client that says, I'm going to keep working, but they might have a 401k? Well, here's a perfect example. You might have somebody who's 60. Now, usually there's a thing called an in-service distribution where they can move their money from their 401k to an IRA, even if they're still working. And in most cases, it's when they're 59 and a half, they have the option to do that. So you might have a person who's 60 and says, well, I'm 60. I don't want to retire yet, even though maybe they should have. I'm going to work for 2 more years. Is it possible that 300,000 could be worth 186 in two years? I would assume it is, just like it has been in this example. Now, we need to check with human resources and find out if they're 60, can they in-service distribution, in other words, move their current 401k from their current 401k to an IRA. And if they can, that person could have solved this problem by saying, okay, I'm not retiring yet, but I'm going to move my money and lock this in versus stayed there in the market. Okay? All right. So big difference there, guys. We can teach you how to do that. Here's kind of this example. This was from Fidelity and Guarantee. So the end of year 1, here's a situation where the account in 2004, it grew up to 2015, 590,000. Had it in the market. The other person put it in the indexed annuity. Remember the 300,000? Let it sit in the market. Remember, it went down to 2060. Let it sit there. It's 590. This person was able to take it out, put it in the indexed annuity, got the growth. At the end of 2015, has an income value of 788,000. A lifetime income of 42,000. So look at the difference. George, 4% rule, gets an annual withdrawal of 23,000. Helen, using the guaranteed income of 5.35%, gets an annual income of 42,000. Who's better off? Should we be in the market? Should we take advantage of what the fixed index annuities have to offer? Who's got better peace of mind? Helen or George? Who's got more money? Helen or George? So guys, this is a big deal. Okay, remember those retirees. They're more concerned about living too long than they are about dying too soon. And I don't know about you, but if we take 42,172 minus 23,611, that's 18,000 divided by 12. That's an extra $1,546. That's an extra Social Security check. Be nice to have an extra one. Now, from 1989 to 2000, this was the market. Now, why? Look at this market. It was green. You hardly ever got a phone call, people complaining about the market. This goes back to when the 401k started, and a lot of money started coming into the market because of the 401k. Well, the pensions went away. The 401k started, the IRAs, even the Roth IRAs, and all this new money, plus baby boomers are putting money towards retirement. It was really, really, really hard. I got to get rid of Al here for some reason, or move him. There we go. It was really, really hard to have a market downturn because there was so much push in the market. That was a nice time. I got in the business in the early 80s. It was a nice time. Here's the worst call. Brent, you sold me a mutual fund. Yeah, got 15%. Yeah, I know. How come he sold me that one? My brother-in-law got 25% on his last year. That's your worst phone call during this period. Okay? But we haven't seen those periods. Now, look at from 2000 to 2010. Here's 2000. Here's 2010. We call that the lost decade. So if you would have had 500,000 in 2000, how much would you had 10 years later? Less than 500. Okay, so if a person is 60 today, do we want to protect that income, or do we want to let it sit in the market for 10 more years? Could this happen in the next 10 years? Very possible. Bogle says volatile market. Volatile market. So if there's volatility, we can be basically the hero of volatility. Now, from 2000 to 2018, okay, we had some 2000 to 2010. See what happened? But now we're up here. Now we've had some volatility. Look at this. If we'd have been here, we'd have been a lot higher. But we've already had a little bit of a downturn. But are we ready? Probably, more than likely, for a correction in the market. So when do we want to lock in the gains? Up in here. Now, so if you got somebody that needs an annuity, what do you do? Well, the first thing is use Unkerfer. I use Jennifer Caseberg. There's her email address. There's the phone number. If you need to call her, write these numbers down. This will be on we're recording this, so you can go get this. But I do this all the time. I email Jennifer. Here's what I got. Here's what I need. Okay? So you just want to send her an email and say, all right, first of all, qualified or non-qualified money. What does that mean? Is this an IRA? Is it a 401k? Is it a Roth IRA? That'd be a qualified money. Non-qualified would be just they've got money sitting in an account somewhere, but it's non-qualified. So we got to identify that first. Second, what's the amount? How much is it? Thirdly, how old are they? I actually put the age, but put their birth date in there too, because some companies might do a little bit different on the birth date situation, just like life insurance does. When do you want the income to start? At 70? Right away? Whatever. Put that down. And then ask for the best income for a single life. What does single life mean? Just for themselves. Just for themselves. But then also ask the best income for joint life, and then put the spouse in there and their age. So what is joint life? If you had a pension and you got to retirement, you would go to your human resource and say, okay, I'm ready for my pension. You want lifetime income, or do you want joint lifetime income? And then they're going to look and say what the difference is. And joint lifetime income is going to be less money than lifetime income. In my case right now, my wife, when she retires, if she takes this, and if we take joint, the difference between joint and single is about $400 a month. So she's probably hoping she can get rid of me before she retires, because then she'll have an extra $400 a month. But if we do it jointly, okay? Now, age of the spouse. If this 70-year-old married, this 60-year-old married a 40-year-old, that's going to have an impact, because they're going to have to pay out for as long as the spouse is there. So you need to get the spouse's age or put the birth date down. And then you also want to ask, hey, but what's the best plan for a nursing home rider? Okay. And then you need to put your state. Now, in this case, I just put North Dakota. That's where I live. She's used to that because I sent this to her. Now, here's the point. Certain products are available and certain products are not available in certain states. So you need to put the state that you're doing the business in, okay, to find out. Now, here's what you'll get back. So here's a 60-year-old male. Oops, sorry. 60-year-old male with $500,000, and he wants income in 10 years. So here's the guy, he says, I got a 401k, or I changed jobs and I have $500,000 in my 401k. I'm 60, but I'm not retiring yet. Okay, I want to retire in 10 years. I'm going to work till I'm 70. So here's what comes back. It shows me here, without me having to run an illustration, it says that F&G Safe Income Plus for a single income in 10 years will be $57,629. Well, guess what? Phoenix would be number 2, Athene would be number 3, and AIG would be number 4. I don't have to go to all these different companies, find a state by state. This is how easy it is. If we want a joint income, now look at the difference. It's a big difference. Okay. And maybe she got confused on the age, because usually it's not quite as that different, but it still tells me what product gives the most income. Now, I would assume you want to provide your client with the most income. Okay. If I'm asking for a long-term care rider on the product, F&G comes out to be the better situation. So then I can print out my F&G illustration. Here it shows my 500,000. Here it shows my income right here, 57,629. Now, my income base we're at 500. Now it's 579, my income base. And that's really, guys, what you want to look at. You want to look at the account value, yes, but the account value is really not what you're looking at. You want to look at your income base. So it went from 579 to $1 million. Now, what if we would have had our money here? What if the next 10 looks like this? And we got that client, found out he could do an in-service distribution, and we got his money out, and it grew an income value base from 500 to $1 million. But if he left it where it's at, his 500 is worth 500, maybe actually a little less than 500. Did we do this guy a pretty good job by doing this? I think so. Would he be happy? And we can tell him, you will be guaranteed an income of $57,629 in 10 years. Guaranteed. Here's another example. One of our agents did the same thing, put the information in, came back, tells you exactly what product you probably should use. Okay? Now, Phoenix is an example. That's what Larry, help me, Mike. Who was talking last week? Lindsay. Lindsay was talking about Phoenix. And here's what happened with Phoenix. It's a 14% simple interest roll-up for the first 10 years. So if Phoenix comes out on top, then you want to use Phoenix. If F&G comes out on top, print out the F&G illustration. But here's an example of the Phoenix situation, okay? Butch did this. Guy was 60 with $250,000. It shows what his income would be today if he started taking income, and what it would be tomorrow. So in this example, in 10 years, it's $250 would be worth $600,000 on an income value. I don't believe anybody's going to go at 60 and then at age 70 just take all the money out at one lump sum, pay all the taxes. Okay, they're going to take it like a pension. They're going to take it as an income guaranteed for life. So in 10 years, single income, $27,000 a year. If he took joint, now in this case, the female, his wife, is actually older than him. Okay, so now the joint income in 10 years would be $24,480, $27,480, $24,480. What does that mean? That means in the single income, if he dies, she will get benefit, but whatever the income value base is at that time, she'll get. Now, if he lives for 10, 15, 20 years, after income, the income value probably might be very, very close to zero. He'll always get a check, but she won't always get a check. So in this case, if he dies, she'll get a check, just like a pension. So when my wife starts taking her pension, we both get a check. If my wife dies, I still get the check. When I die, my kids don't get anything. Unless we both died in a car crash in 2 years, that account value will be distributed to the beneficiaries of my wife and I, just like this would be too. But we're assuming the guy lives to 90. there may not be anything left for the kids, but it's not about the kids. It's protecting income for life.